Also, apparently I was smarter than myself this morning. Smarter than myself. Doesn't that make you wonder what that means? So here we are, apparently going to do Proverbs 14. I mentioned on SargeFaria, SargeFaria, that Proverbs 14 has a whole lot of classic proverbs in it. And this is not in the AENT because it would have to be the AEPT, Previous Testament, Original Testament. I think previous is a whole lot better than old. I'll tell you that, because that just means that's what it precedes. Okay. The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish pulls it down with her hands. So I'm guessing that means the foolish woman. Isn't that interesting? It's a proverb for women. So, you may wonder why I have honk and joy up as graffiti. There's a book called Honk for Joy, or Brake Lights for Joy. There we go. Brake lights! I don't know how many times you've heard your mom ever say that. Brake lights! Verse 2. He who walks in his uprightness fears the Lord, but he who is perverse in his ways despises the Lord. So pay attention to that word, despises. Verse 3. In the mouth of a fool is a rod of pride. Alright, so maybe it's not verse 3 in this particular... I mean, it is 14 verse 3. But maybe I could say the third proverb. But when I got to like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, I guess I could say that. But the thing is that 6, 7, and 8 is one proverb. And so the verses don't necessarily fit that. In the mouth of a fool is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise will preserve them. For Christina. Where no oxen are, the trough is clean, but much increase comes by the strength of an ox. She trains oxen. Oxshare. Sorry. Fifth proverb of 14. Although these divisions are absolutely arbitrary. A faithful witness does not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. Okay, the sixth proverb, which is 3 verses long. A scoffer seeks wisdom and does not find it, but knowledge is easy to him who understands. Go from the presence of a foolish man when you do not perceive in him the lips of knowledge. The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Fools mock at sin, but among the upright there is favor. The heart knows its own bitterness, and a stranger does not share its joy. I think that's for Zach. The house of the wicked will be overthrown, but the tent of the upright will flourish. I think that's for me. Yahweh! Not my way, Yahweh! There is a booklet called the Didache. 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 The Didache. And this is the very first verse in the earliest document we have from the apostles. But it's not attributed to one. It's attributed to a group of them sitting around like a group of elders trying to determine how to have the witnesses, the new witnesses, the martyrs, the new witnesses, learn what the gospel is. And this is the very first verse of the Didache. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Correct me if I'm wrong, eh? I could be wrong. Said it before, I'll say it again. I could be wrong. I used to say that everyone should read the book of James once a month and the Didache every few months, as in every 3 months, so 4 times a year. And I used to also say that, hey, maybe it's not a bad thing for people to memorize if they're illiterate. It's a good work. Even in laughter the heart may sorrow, and the end of mirth may be grief. Here's this word. The backslider in heart will be filled with his own ways, but a good man will be satisfied from above. Alright, serendipity share. So I put up that honk. I didn't like it in black, I didn't like it in white, so I put it up in gold, and it's satisfactory in gold. And I used to have a Jeep. And so I'm walking down the street after I'd done this, and so here comes this gold-colored, late 80s, early 90s Jeep Wrangler, gold paint, you know, and so I'm laughing, because what I've been thinking about was when it was appropriate to honk, and how often had I been honking when I had my Jeep across the whole country. I had like 20,000 accident-free hours, maybe more than that, with Pizza Hut. In, what is it? I worked at 25 stores, but that's including managing. I think I drove at 22 stores. 22 stores. For those 20,000 accident-free hours in 4 states in each corner of the United States. Yeah. What's a country that begins with U? Uruguay. United States. Anyway. And so there's this Jeep. And so I see it, this golden Jeep. And I laugh and I'm like, oh yeah, God, have them honk at me as I cross the street. Normally I wait for cars to go by and I look other directions and just kind of mill around the corner and don't stay on the corner as if I was going to cross right then, because in Vermont there's a law that pedestrians got the right of way. And so I don't want people that are driving up, I don't want them to stop because it's going up a hill. Granted, it's not very slippery today, or yesterday either. And so I'm cracking up. I'm like, ha ha ha, it'd be so funny if they honked at me. And so then the phrase comes to mind, which it normally does when I do something like that. When I see a serendipity, I'm just pleased with it. Like, what's the next part, God? And so the phrase that comes to mind every time I think that is, do not test the Lord your God. And what happens? So I'm laughing about that because that's been going on in my life for many, many, many years. Many, 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 many years. I've been saying that phrase in my mind. Whenever things are kind of going my way. Like, do not test the Lord your God. But what happens? No, he didn't honk. A second golden Jeep, this time a Cherokee though, comes driving up right behind him. So I'm spinning in circles on the corner, cracking up. And because, here I am, I'm like, oh, don't test the Lord your God. And God's all like, I'll give you a second golden Jeep. Because these people were not related to each other. I know this for a fact. And so it was just I was in the right place at the right time. Okay. And so here's one of the original backslider verses. The backslider in heart will be filled with his own ways, but a good man will be satisfied from above. I really like that. So now, this is a whole separate set. Quick-tempered, rages, and this is a long proverb, so pay attention. And the camera comes on. The simple believes every word, but the prudent considers well his steps. A wise man fears and departs from evil, but a fool rages and is self-confident. A quick-tempered man acts foolishly, and a man of wicked intentions is hated. The simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. The evil will bow before the good, and the wicked at the gates of the righteous. The poor man is hated even by his own neighbor, but the rich has many friends. He who despises his neighbor sins, but he who has mercy on the poor, happy is he. So this is something that Paul's talking about when he's traveling with Barnabas to the Jerusalem people. They're like, as long as you got mercy on the poor, do they not go astray who devise evil? But mercy and truth belong to those who devise good. That means draft and construct. In all labor there is profit, but idle chatter leads only to poverty. The crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of fools is folly. That's the most intense thing you've ever heard in your life. A true witness delivers souls, but a deceitful witness speaks lies. In the fear of the Lord there is strong confidence, and his children will have a place of refuge. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. In a multitude of people is a king's honor, but in the lack of people is the downfall of a prince. He who is slow to wrath has great understanding, but he who is impulsive exalts folly. That doesn't say don't be wrathful. That's not. You can read the rest of this. So I'm going to take this last 20 seconds that I can. It doesn't say don't be wrathful. It says if you're slow to wrath. So when it is time to be wrathful, be wrathful. Last night I had people who were overextending their welcome here and their stay. Okay, and I tried to indicate to them numerous times by pulling the wood out of the fire that it was time to go. And then one of the people went and threw more wood in the fire after I had pulled wood out. So I went and I tipped the bucket and I showed them wrath. And I said, maybe it's time for you to go. Cherish this new love. Be well.